Welcome back to the Middle Lit Podcast, the fastest 8 minutes in sports. I am Joe Burks, your host. Let's break down already week three of the 2025 NFL season. Some wild games this week, several insane finishes down to the last play, a ton of blocked extra points and field goals, actually, so that was kind of interesting. But we'll get into every single game right here, right now, starting off with the Bears versus the Cowboys. A big win for Chicago. They get their first win of the season. And Caleb Williams, quarterback for the Bears, looked more comfortable on Sunday than I've seen him the entire season. If they can figure out that rushing attack like Ben Johnson did in Detroit when he was their offensive coordinator, this offense could take the next step. Dallas's defense, they allowed, I believe, 31 points it was. And throughout 2025, their defense has given up 31.6 points per game and 397.7 yards per game. They can't keep up with the amount of points their defense is giving up. It's obvious. If things don't improve, it's going to be hard to see Dallas getting into the playoffs. Then our last piece of news for this game, CeeDee Lamb, star wide receiver for the Cowboys, suffered a high ankle sprain. He'll be out for 4 to 6 weeks. They're going to rely a lot more on George Pickens and tight end Jake Ferguson in the coming weeks. We'll see how they respond from that. Next, we have the Cardinals versus the 49ers. Mac Jones really played tough on Sunday. It was obvious he was playing through an injury, but he stayed in the game, led them to the win, had a couple of really nice throws, especially to Ricky Pearsall down the field. Speaking of Pearsall, the 2024 first-round pick, Pearsall looked fantastic, looks every bit worth that pick they spent on him. Some unfortunate news, James Conner, veteran running back, has been really, really good for a long time, had a really bad ankle injury, they're saying, and he'll be out for the season. I just hate to see that for a player that's been good for a long time, and just for any player, really. Next up, we have the Broncos versus the Chargers. Chargers coming out on top 23-20, a really good game. Denver's defense played really well for most of this game. Rookie running back for the Chargers, Amari Hampton, also had a strong game after some early season struggles. He had 129 total yards, a rushing touchdown, was super involved as a receiver. I think Justin Herbert should be an early season MVP candidate. Still managed over 300 yards against a really good defense with Denver and had that amazing game-winning touchdown pass getting out of the pocket, throwing across the field. Our last piece of news, Najee Harris, running back for the Chargers. It's looking like an Achilles tear for him. It looks like he'll be out the rest of the year, which is pretty unfortunate. We have Cleveland versus Green Bay. Green Bay struggled to run the ball, and some turnovers from Love and a blocked field goal made it really hard for the Packers to win. And Cleveland's defense looks elite. On the other side of the ball. Only 204.3 yards per game given up, and that's the best mark in the NFL among all defenses. But Cleveland wins this game after a blocked field goal sets them up for their own game-winning attempt, and they're able to convert that and beat the Packers, who were 2-0 before that and looked dominant. I'm still worried about Cleveland's offense. Besides one field goal drive, Cleveland only scored when they were given elite field position by their defense or special teams. We can get into some blowout games, won't spend as much time on these. Indianapolis destroyed the Titans. Cam Ward, number one overall pick quarterback, looked fine. Jonathan Taylor for the Colts looks like the best running back in football right now. 338 rushing yards through 3 games, and he's currently on pace for over 1,900 rushing yards, which is a ridiculous mark. Quarterback for the Colts, Daniel Jones, once again looked amazing. Then on the defensive side of things, Cam Bynum, Colts safety, looks like one of the best free agent signings of the offseason. Seahawks versus the Saints, 38-6 at halftime, which is unbelievable. Seattle special teams gets a shout out for this one. A blocked punt, and then a punt return touchdown, 2 separate plays. And Torrey Horton, fifth-round rookie receiver out of Colorado State, looks fantastic. Had that punt return touchdown, then had a receiving touchdown later in the game. I think he could become a big part of this offense if they let him. Then Cincinnati versus Minnesota, another blowout. Cornerback Isaiah Rodgers had one of the best defensive performances we've ever seen. 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, an interception, 2 defensive touchdowns, 2 passes defended, and 3 tackles. I mean, if you haven't seen his highlights from the game, I recommend you go look him up. Then the offensive side of the ball from Minnesota, Jordan Mason, running back, stepped up in the absence of Aaron Jones, the veteran, and had 16 carries for 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. Looked fantastic, really efficient on the ground. He's a really physical running back, and he showed that with a couple goal line scores. And it looks like the Bengals are just cooked without Joe Burrow. I don't expect them to make the playoffs. That defense is really bad. And they were down to the Carson Wentz-led Vikings 34-3 at halftime. Next up, we have Pittsburgh versus New England. Pittsburgh getting the win here. By the help of some Patriots turnovers. The Patriots fumbled 4 times, 2 from Ramondre Stevenson, 2 from Antonio Gibson, both running backs there, and then 1 from Drake May. I think it's time to get TreVeyon Henderson more volume, their second-round rookie running back out of Ohio State. The running back that didn't fumble yesterday. I feel like this game was either 14-14 or 14-7 for about 10 hours. 0 points scored, and the third quarter didn't really help that. Aaron Rodgers finally scored again, with 2 minutes left to Calvin Austin to put the Pittsburgh Steelers on top. We have the Rams versus the Eagles, one of the best games of the week. Rams were up big at halftime, 19-7. The Eagles look really lifeless on offense, but the Philly offense, especially A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, really woke up in the second half. A.J. Brown finished with 6 receptions for 109 yards and a touchdown, had some ridiculous plays after the catch. Philadelphia blocked 2 field goal attempts, one of which was the game-winning attempt from Joshua Carty. Tampa Bay versus the New York Jets. Baker Mayfield has now led 3 straight game-winning drives to open the season. Like I said, after week 1, and I've been proving right ever since, I would take Baker Mayfield over any other quarterback to win me a game with less than 2 minutes left. New York made this interesting with a late blocked field goal return for a touchdown, but I never really doubted Baker Mayfield in the clutch. Washington versus Las Vegas. The main lesson here is Las Vegas' defense is really bad. They allowed 41 points to Marcus Mariota in this Washington offense. They just really had no chance on offense whenever the defense was giving up points every single drive. Trey Tucker, receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders, had a ridiculous game despite the loss. 8 receptions, 145 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. He's been a great speedy deep threat for them in the past. Another bright spot for Las Vegas, despite the loss. Ashton Jeanty, rookie running back, looked really, really good, despite poor efficiency. Panthers versus Falcons. Carolina comes up with a 30-0 win, shutting out Atlanta, and one of the most surprising results of the week, in my opinion. The passing offense for the Falcons looked really bad. One really bad pick six from Penix. Then the Panthers' defense managed to dominate without getting any sacks. Houston versus Jacksonville. Jacksonville gets the win, 17-10. Not a good football game. I'll be real. I did not enjoy watching this game at all. Just really sloppy football overall. 3 total interceptions, so many drops, fumbles, bad offense. The only takeaway I have really from this game is that I think the Colts are going to win the AFC South. They look like the best team by far. Houston cannot do anything on offense with that horrible offensive line. Stroud hasn't been playing that well. Then for Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence has been inconsistent. Brian Thomas Jr. has really struggled out at the gate. I didn't really have any faith in C.J. Stroud in the final drive, and he ended up throwing the game-losing pick. This team is failing him. That's the truth. The offensive line is not good enough. They traded away Laramie Tunsil, one of the best tackles in football, despite having an atrocious offensive line, and it hasn't improved. It's gotten worse, and Stroud is constantly under pressure, constantly getting sacked, and they're not going to win a game until they figure something out with that. Stroud's play hasn't been as great as it was a couple years ago. That's fact, but the team is doing him zero favors by putting him in a near impossible situation. And you hate to see a player on the rookie contract, when you're supposed to be building up a team around them while they're still cheap. You hate to see the team wasting their season. Kansas City versus the Giants, a Sunday night game. Kansas City wins pretty comfortably. Russell Wilson, veteran quarterback for the Giants, I think if they continue to start him the rest of the season, I think he's going to get Brian Daboll fired. He threw 2 pretty inexcusable interceptions in this game. And you're stuck putting a rock in a hard place because I don't think Jackson Dart is ready to start in NFL games yet. I think he's still a very raw prospect. Don't get me wrong, he could surprise, he could be great. There's an argument to be made that maybe it'll help his confidence, maybe it's good for his development, for him getting some reps early, but you also don't want to throw him into the fire too early. So the question is, do you stick with Russell Wilson, who had a good game against Dallas, but has also had 2 pretty poor performances? But the Giants' offense, outside of their rushing attack, looked really bad last night. Malik Neighbors was getting triple teamed by the Chiefs defense and wasn't able to contribute. And Tyrone Tracy, the running back, going out with I believe it was a shoulder injury, doesn't help anything. He's going to miss a couple weeks, it seems. But Cam Scatterby, the rookie running back out of Arizona State, looked really great. Honestly, I think they should give him a lot of carries the next few weeks if they want to have a chance. He was also the leading receiver with 6 receptions, 61 yards, so maybe they can right the ship by midseason, but it's not looking good for the Giants at all. My prediction for the Monday night game, I believe Detroit's going to beat Baltimore 35-31, and for the Thursday night, I believe Seattle's going to beat Arizona 28-20. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the podcast. Don't forget to share it with your friends, your family, whoever. I'll see you guys in the next one.